Everyone has that one secret you're not willing to share with anyone. Some darker than others. Maybe you only brush your teeth once a month. Or maybe you killed someone. Join me as I share with you 15 of the darkest secrets Reddit has to offer. Keep in mind, all these secrets are completely anonymous. A customer of mine told me he had planned the kidnap and murder of his ex-wife's new partner. He had even brought all the supplies he needed to carry out the plan. His intent was to dose him in petrol and burn him alive. There was this girl in my school who I think was a selective mute. She only talked to a few people, and I was one of them. I remember this day she told me that I'd never be on her hit list. A local taxi service in my city will take away dead bodies for you. When I was in 4th grade, one of my friends broke down in tears and told me he had murdered someone, and that's why he had moved away from California. In HS, we were hanging out with this kid who was a grade lower than us, and he started talking about how he buried a cat up to its head and then ran over it with a lawnmower. I didn't believe that he actually did that, but it was disturbing to think that this was the information he decided to share to impress us. I accidentally killed 7 people. I put a rag into a new water heater exhaust to keep debris out and installed it in a rental. I get a call a week later. There's been an accident. I show up and there's a ton of EMs and police. They ask me where the gas shutoff is, and I go down to shut the gas off and see the end of the rag I forgot sticking out of the top of the heater. I rip the rag out, shut the gas off and head upstairs, only to be told all the tenants were dead. I drink all day now and I sleep. It's killing me from the inside every single day. But if I say anything, my family's ruined. We have a bunch of rental properties and would be shut down. I killed my best friend by accident while high on cocaine. This was 1 year ago. She was also my girlfriend. When I was 12, I went with some family to the Family Dollar. My mother and cousins went off to look at generic groceries, so I decided I'd spend my time hanging out in the toy section. In the toy section, there would always be these bags of marbles that other kids would open and leave lying around there, so I decided I'd fling marbles across the floor, and one just happened to reach one of the far off aisles. So about 2 minutes later, I hear a loud crash and someone screaming. Being the curious child I was, I ran over to see what the commotion was about, and find everyone gathered around this guy who had seemed to have fallen from the ladder. The guy is seizing out and blood is coming from his head, and his face seems to be turning blue. My mother whisked me and my cousins away quickly and we left. Next time we went, we talked to the front cashier, and she said that they'd called the paramedics, but by the time they got there, he had died from choking. Apparently, when he had the seizure, he was choking on his own tongue. The cause for the fall, according to the front cashier, was that he put the ladder on a marble and didn't check it before he got on it. When I heard what the cashier said, I just stood in disbelief, thinking I was going to jail. I tried telling my mother many times, but all she did was say that I imagined it. 21 years ago, I was assigned to a DMAT. We get on the scene, find 2 expired, 1 alive. When I got to one side of the auto, I see a child of about 4 trapped under the vehicle. Nothing prepared my 25-year-old brain for what I saw. A child's eyes looking up at me, help me, and fear in them. The child was smeared under the car. All that was left was the head, the pressure of the auto keeping what blood was there in the brain. I resigned the next day. I used to help out at a nursing home. This old Russian lady would always retell the same tale over and over. Her husband drank and hit her. It was sad for sure, but one day she leaned over and whispered, "He was an arsehole drunk, so I pushed him down the stairs, dead." A friend of mine back in high school was planning on shooting up his school. He had the whole thing laid out in scary detail, and probably would have killed anyone who tried to leave the classrooms because of the way the corridors were designed. He had a long arm and a pistol, as well as booby traps for the windows and doors. I talked him out of it at the last minute, but I still cringe to think about the death toll that might have came from it being planned by such a perfectionist like him. As a junior high student, I was bullied by a clique of 4 to 5 guys. One day, during science class, one of them sat down beside me and started hitting me with a short length of lamp cord. I buried a number 2 pencil so deeply in his thigh, it broke off on his femur. There were no repercussions and no school official ever mentioned it. 14 years ago, I helped my best friend hide a body, no questions asked. We have still not talked about it to this day, and thankfully this will get lost and no one will see it, but it feels good to admit. I was driving to school with my best friend, and we hit a man in his late 20s. We panicked, so we put him in the backseat of my can and drove him to the hospital. A few blocks before the hospital, we pushed him out and drove off. We heard on the news that the man had died later that day. To this day, we have never and will never tell a soul. A couple of friends of mine after high school had a run of tough luck and ended up getting hooked on heroin. To support their habits, they began robbing houses and selling the goods in the ghetto for their fix. They came across one house, a soldier's house, who was away fighting in Iraq or Afghanistan. First they took all the copper, then they broke in and found out the guy had a massive arsenal of weaponry. They took the arsenal to the ghetto and sold it to drug dealers. It troubles me knowing that in one of the most dangerous cities in America, there's hoodlums running around with grenades and military weaponry.